A great day in SimWorld, everybody. Good morning. I got my Earl Grey tea in my thermos. I am B-Ron. Alongside me, as always, is my man Yells. Good morning, sir. How you doing? A lovely day to be here with you, as
Top
always.
top of the morning, man. Top of the morning.
Yes, sir. It is a good day as always, and we've been talking a lot about Nick Hugo here lately over the past couple of days. I feel like every day we
Too
started our
much.
show talking about him,
Too
but
much.
hopefully, hey, look, man, he's one of the one of the key players in Simo Prep, and I feel like he deserves to be talked about. And now we got some more news here.
Yeah.
Apparently, he's verbally committed to the Queen City Kings.
Whoa.
Uh, so yeah, that's big, especially if,
Whoa.
there's talk of Benari James also going there as well. We'll see what happens when the commitments become official, in a few weeks here when it opens up. But who joins him, do you think? Who are some other players who you think that could join Nick Hugo down there, and they can really, really turn Queen City around very quickly. Because last year, that team, they had a chance to do something great. We thought we'd see, Norvell Dejon Jones show out and have a big season. Didn't end up happening. A few other players also were there post big season, didn't end up happening.
Norvell, you let me down last season, Norvell. You were hot, steaming garbage last year. It was. His game was trash last year. We expect a lot more out of you, sir. A
We did.
lot more. But man, I hate you put me in these positions anymore. I tell you, I don't like to talk about player movement in high school because I don't know whose family
No,
is
man.
cutting these kind of checks to have them flying. I'm not with it,
we
man. I'm not
that's
with it.
that's been a hot topic of discussion here too lately as well. That
But
sure has.
I Nick Hugo in Queen City, I think, is a match made in heaven for Coach Skinny. I don't know what type of team he's trying to build. I know he
Yeah.
had Carter Fields last year, and he liked to have another athletic, high motor big man. I don't know. I think Carter Fields is actually from. I think he's actually from North Carolina, so
Yeah.
anything's possible there. That could end up being a crazy combination. There's a lot of talent in North Carolina. I mean, an awful lot. And let me just get my wits about me here. You got Benari James. I'm not counting out Barkley James. I refuse to do it. I'm not counting him
Okay.
out of making his way to that team. I just mentioned Carter Fields. You got Marco Jacobs, a hot new recruit on the scene, and Cairo Windsor is another kid I've been hearing a lot about. And then there's other guys out there. Corbin Knowlton, Chester Henshaw, Jamichael Guzman, who did not play in SimWorld Prep last season, but he did the season prior. But I say all of that just to bring it full circle and say there's still a cat on that Queen City Kings team returning. 17 years old, 6'7", pretty light in the rear, 171 pounds. He needs to sit down at the table and get some of that good Charlotte barbecue or something, man. But Sky Durant is a hooper. Sky Durant is an absolute baller. He's on the lines of what we saw from D'Angelo Jordan last year. If you ask me, has that same mold. If he can sharpen up his game,
Yeah.
I think he put up look roughly 12 points a game. Was He led the team in 3-point shooting last year as well. I think Coach Skinny has a great foundation right now just in those two alone, Sky Durant and Nick Hugo. That's something to bounce off of. Good luck trying to keep Sky Durant at 6'7" from getting off a perimeter shot, let alone
Yeah,
if you're
right?
going to defend it. You got big Nick Hugo down there now running to the rim to go get the board. That's tough to contend with. So I like the move a lot. I
Yeah.
hate that Nick Hugo is not returning to Run DMV. It absolutely breaks my heart for that area but I think he's right up the street though, right? I mean, it's
Yeah, I
not
mean,
it's
he's
not
not
too it's
yeah,
not
no, it's not
terribly
too
too
far.
far. I guess
Not
maybe he
too
has
far
some
from where
family or
I know.
something. I don't know, but
Yeah.
good
Look,
move for Coach
that's
Skinny.
one of those that makes sense in my opinion. If you're talking about somebody moving from, a state to another state, that's one that I could see realistically happening and it making sense. But that's a whole other conversation that we can have. We're not gonna have it today. We're not gonna have it today, if ever, probably. But hey, who knows? Who knows? You mentioned Barkley James earlier in your talk there about Queen City Kings and that kind of thing. Um, we know about his issues last season with Indy and the blow up that happened with that team. But do you think that as a result of that, he's been pretty quiet since? But are we not we in the media, but are teams in general maybe forgetting about Barkley James? And has his past antics, do you think, have they impacted his presence, I guess, in the conversation as a whole? Because personally, I I think that in some ways people are, but I don't think I think that there's a lot of things going on behind the scenes in silence that we aren't talking about, and I think that's one thing that everybody needs to remember. So just because you're not hearing your name being talked about in public doesn't mean people aren't talking about you.
Hey,
Uh, and we know Barkley James can shoot the dang ball from 3-point range. We know that. So I think that I think that that's one of those things that people are going. We know what he can do on the court, but we're not sure what we're gonna get from him off the court
yeah.
in some respects.
I mean, I take a lot of the same stance that you take on this, B. Ron, and I think I I don't think that he's lost any value in the eyes of coaches as far as what his talent level is. I think he may have limited his options in regard to who may want to deal with however they perceived his
Right.
personality and his
Yeah.
reaction,
Yeah.
how he reacts to things last season. He's laid low. Has he maybe restored some of that trust or some of that confidence that coaches may have? Possibly, but I definitely think that last year hurt his stock a little bit in regard to options, not in regard to talent. And then just to the second part of what you're saying, you already touched on. A wise man once told me, right? Really, he posed it as a question, and here it goes. Don't worry about being famous. That's not the goal. You don't get rich from being famous. You get famous because you're rich. Right? So, it just applying that to basketball. Kids, don't worry about if your name's all over the media or not. I don't think that's a big deal. Let your game do the talking, and your game will make its way to the media. People will find out.
People
You don't
find
have to
you.
be
Yeah.
out there running your mouth all the time, man. It's
Exactly.
not,
Yeah.
and you don't have to be the talk of all the headlines. The headlines just come with scrutiny. Here's a small piece of advice behind the veil on the media. I know I'm on this show here doing media, but I don't think I'm a traditional media guy. But the truth of the matter is, you want to know what the media's job is, guys? And ask LeBron James, ask Michael Jordan, ask Tom Brady, ask any of the greats. We build you up, right? Because the story is to build you up, but the greater story is to pull you back down. That's what the media is
Yes.
gonna
No.
do.
Yeah.
So if you're dying to be in the media, just know that you're waiting on that downfall. Someone's waiting on that one mistake to bring you back down. So
Yeah.
Barkley James, great talent. I don't think he's lost any
Absolutely.
value in coaches' eyes at all. Just limited options.
Yeah, and to comment on your last point there, I'm pretty. Marsh has said it in on his podcast, and I've said it before numerous times as well. You know, the media's job is to report on you on all these kids and on everybody, good or bad, for good or bad. We're not, they don't do it because they have a vendetta against you.
Right.
Most times, okay, I'm not gonna say anybody has one of those, but most times we're just reporting what we see, what we hear, be it good or bad. And if you're in the media for those reasons, that's just what it is. You have to take some ownership at some point though
Yeah.
for your own
And
actions.
then just understanding the flow of media. I mean, there's
Yeah,
the greatest story ever told is someone's climb and ascension. But the only story greater than that, in the storytelling world, is their demise.
the fall. Yeah,
so, so hey, we're not out to get anyone, but hey, Barkley James, you were a hooper. Everyone was excited to see you last season, and then you got in a little hot water, and everyone was like, "Wait a minute." We're hearing a lot, and we're not hearing it for the right reasons. Everything in the
Yeah,
media feed outshined the great shooting that you displayed. He put on the court. But he's been a little quiet. I think he's good to go, in my opinion. Time heals everything, man.
absolutely, absolutely. And uh, I had something I wanted to talk about as an aside, real quick. It was the Cole Webb thing and how, because you mentioned about people coming to find you and that sort of thing. I feel the same way about Cole Webb. We talked about it yesterday. Him needing to stay, or we like him to stay and to play for Oceana instead of coming stateside. And for that reason, you know, people are gonna come. People already know what your game is like, Cole. I don't think you need to come stateside to play. You can stay in Oceania, continue to get your numbers, or continue to get your name out there, and play at a high level. People will come find you regardless. You don't have to go to them. If you're good enough, they'll come find you.
Yeah. SimWorld
Yeah,
Prep came and found him. SimWorld
right.
Prep came and found him. He's got national exposure. He's one of the main reasons Oceania, along with that beautiful host court that
Go,
they
man.
have. Yeah, but that's one of the reasons that they even got nationally televised games. So Cole Webb, I think you're good, man. I
Yeah,
think you're good. But look, we're gonna keep it moving. We are gonna
yeah.
keep it moving
Go.
here.
Let's go.
Recruiting. Man, SimWorld Atlantis, Coach K decided to head back home. He decided to coach in his native area. But, that's a tough area to recruit in. There's not a whole lot of basketball coming out of that area. Granted, last year they had Blaine Kidd. They had who set he set SimWorld on fire. The SimWorld Prep's only triple double recorded
Yep.
to date.
In the first game of the
In the
season.
first game of the season, came out guns blazing. They had Theophilus Hilton, who was an absolute baller, 16 points a game. I don't think he got talked about enough. Mickey Hartman had some moments, and then you had Big Keontae Smith in the middle, who I think he was one of the tops in the league in shot blocking.
And Nathaniel Zoberman as well.
Nathaniel Zilberman also. But not exactly a hotbed of talent in Atlantis by most people's accounts. And a couple of those guys have moved on. Hilton's gone. He's moved on. We'll see. I'm sure we'll hear about his college commitment. Same with Blaine Kidd. And then Keontae Smith. I think Keontae Smith I'm hearing he doesn't love life over there in Shepherd's Bush in Great Britain. He may be returning home. So Coach K has a really blank slate to work with. B-Ron, what can you see happening here? How tough is his challenge going to be, and where do you think he lands?
So I do think that he has a tough challenge ahead of him, like you said, because of where he is. But at the same point in time, he's been doing this for a couple of seasons now here in SimWorld Prep. So he already has an idea of those challenges and what comes with that, being on the state side of things, having to do it on the international side for the first time. That again is gonna be a challenge in itself. But I think him also being from Finland, gives him an advantage to connect with the players that he'll be communicating with in general, because he's also from that side of the globe. I think that kind of familiarity will help him to bring certain players in. Again, looking at his roster here currently, all the players here are from the international waters, except for Smithy you mentioned, who's from Arizona.
Yep.
Uh, so it's not like he's never done this before. So he knows what he's doing.
And
I think to give you a concrete answer, Yells, I think that he will be perfectly fine with all this. Again,
absolutely.
because he's been doing this for a couple of seasons here in SimWorld Prep, he knows what to expect. He knows how the process works. He's not a new guy, so
Well,
he got it.
I
He got
think
it. I know.
even furthermore to add on to that is I don't think he's out here trying to trying to make waves. I think the waves
Yeah.
happen when you go about things a certain way. Certain things, the universe works in your favor. Last year, he landed Tyson Simpson. Somehow he managed to get him to
Yep.
come to St. Louis of all places,
Yeah.
from Toronto. When we thought the easy move would be for Tyson
To go
Simpson
to
just to
Gotham.
head down south to, just a
Gotham
couple
5,
blocks to Gotham Five or
Italy.
something like that. Yeah,
Yeah.
but he got him to come all the way to St. Louis. So I'm sure Coach K may have some tricks up his sleeve. But even if he doesn't, I think his philosophy is to work within the area he has and cultivate talent and nurture young kids' game, which is
Yeah.
fine. There is a kid in his area, 6'11", near 7 feet tall, that I'm hearing about Gonzaga looking at. I think he's supposed to be a pretty talented kid, only 15 years old.
Gee.
So I'm pretty sure Coach K is going to be landing him, considering that cost of getting somebody over from Ireland, if need be, from anywhere. That's not a really close destination globally. But Coach K is going to maximize whatever he has. I know that's for certain. I'm looking forward to seeing what kind of legacy and basketball lineage he's going to start building over there, as a pipeline in the Northern Atlantic area. Maybe we start hearing about more basketball coming out of that area because of just how he's going to prepare these young kids. I'm excited for it. Coach K, do it. Do the damn
Yeah.
thing. That's where we stay on this side. Do the damn thing, man.
We're so excited, and Coach Koos is one of my favorite guys. Always a good guy to talk to,
So
and that kind of
professional.
stuff. Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
Class
And
act, man.
kids need to see that too, as
Yeah.
much as anything else,
Not
to
a
know
whole
how to
lot of crazy, flashy talk. Just like
yep,
let's get it done, kids. So yeah.
handle your business, handle your business, man. Speaking of handling business, though, SimWorld South America, they have a lot of business to handle. They're they're losing their two best players from last season. They started off really well last season and then just fell off a cliff. Had a long losing streak. They could never really get it going after that.
Didn't they start
Um,
0 and they started 5-0, didn't they?
5-0, something like that, and then, like I said, they just fell off a cliff and went on a long losing streak. I think it was like 10 in a row, something crazy in a row. It was awful. So now, with all that being said, they got to figure out how they're going to rebound after all of that. And they have a lot of talent in that area, in that South America region to kind of look at and that kind of stuff. Scrolling through here really quick while I do that to find some players to talk about. Why don't you give me your quick take on that?
Yeah, I don't know who they're looking at. I know
Yeah, no, no,
they
I know. Yeah,
lost the big man in the middle, Patricio. Patricio. Yeah,
yeah,
Patricio is a baller, not getting the kind of respect that he deserves, in my opinion. But he is getting some looks from some college squads, so I think he's finally gonna get that. Rafael Lima, I'm hearing
I was
about.
just yep, that was one that came on my list here. Yep, Rafael Lima.
Tiago Soares, one of the bigger recruits out in that area, out of Brazil. Also, Boston College is apparently looking at him.
Hmm.
And then Alexandra Silva, only 6 feet tall, 16 years old. But I'm hearing a lot about his ball handling, his ball handling, his offensive creative, and an athlete that I've seen some tape of him. They have some things going on down there in South America, some things to build on. He's only 16 years old. They have him for a couple of years before maybe he could play professionally or whatever he may do next. They have an uphill climb though. That's what I'll
Yeah,
say. They
you
definitely
do.
have an uphill climb.
They're in
The talent
rebuild
pool
mode.
there is maybe they can bring somebody in. Maybe some of these scorned SimWorld prep players. Maybe somebody cashes out and allows them to come down, spend some money on a sponsorship and brings them in.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Who knows, man? Who knows? It look either way, they're gonna have a tough time. But I think that with the right set of players in there, maybe they can um continue that streak that they had beginning of the season for next season. Who knows, man?
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe they'll go 6-0. Hopefully not fall off a cliff though. Hopefully not. But looking forward to next season. I know we're still a little ways out from it, but there was a discussion yesterday, and I wanted to bring it here to SimWorld today for this morning about the SimWorld Prep breakout players, starting five. There was a tweet that went out yesterday about that. A lot of discussion around that. I had my starting five yesterday as well, and I tried to focus on players who were strictly returning players
Yeah.
coming in because, in my opinion, I don't see recruits, new players coming in to be quote unquote to have that quote
No,
unquote
they can't have a
breakout
breakout.
scenario.
That's not the rules. Stop breaking the
That's not how.
rules. That's like
Yeah, that's
somebody
not how
saying,
that works.
"Hey, you got five wishes. What's your first wish?" Oh, I wish for five more wishes. No, no, we're not playing that game.
Yeah. Yeah, so you have to have been a returning player to fit this criteria for me. I know not everybody was doing that, but that's neither here nor there. Anyway, my starting five was Enzo Wolf, Barkley James, John Hudgens, Khalid Ali, Jermaine Owens, and my sixth man was Ethan Letterman Jr. Yeah.
Okay.
What about you? What you got?
I don't have one. I'm just
Boo!
kidding. Just kidding. Yeah, so I'm going a slightly different direction than
Okay.
maybe this will we'll see how people feel about this.
Oh, I like it. Let's go, man. I like different. That's what I did
All
too.
right. So I'm going Gabe Pope for sure. Yeah, I'm going
Okay.
Gabe Pope. What I've seen from his development here, I'm excited about seeing it further with no Trey Turner in the way. I'm going Kasim Porter Jr. I'm just a huge fan of his basketball game and the way he goes about his business.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm going there. I'm also going Sean Hyman. He's
Okay.
a
All right.
monster. Hey man, I
Yeah.
keep throwing it out there. I can't say who the best Hyman brother is. I know who the loudest one is. I know who took home all the awards last year. I know who it was. I know what he did. But Sean Hyman, come on man, Sean Hyman's a dog. So I think together they'll go crazy. But if there's a little more opportunity for Sean, I
Yeah.
think we'll really see something heavy this season. John Hudgens was actually on my list too. You know how I feel about John Hudgens. He's so
Yeah. I
skilled,
like him a
man.
lot too.
He's so skilled. He has so much height. So I think there's lots of opportunity there for him. Jermaine Owens. I need a guy in the middle that says, "Hey, I'm gonna put that ball in the stands, or I'm gonna put you on your ass." It's one of the two, and I'm a big fan of how he operates in the middle. I think last year he had a season. I'll say that. And then lastly, my sixth man, I battled on this. I'll just say real quick, I had AJ Blaylock here. That's where I
Okay.
landed.
That's good. I like that so
I'm
far.
a huge fan of his game. Then I switched it over and I went Zagor because I
Okay.
really love
Okay.
Zagor's passing and I
Me
think he
too,
has the
though.
opportunity to run the
Yeah.
point. So that's my first. That's my sixth man. I think honestly he's going to be an even bigger story later down the line. In my opinion. And then I did my one caveat. It sounds like I have two actually. So my apologies. My one caveat. Let me get my notes here. Bear with me.
Yeah. Yeah.
I would go Vincent Magic. I would. I think he has a big season ahead of him. I would go Vincent Magic. I would
Okay.
also potentially go. These two guys were no brainers on my list, to be totally honest. I would have also went Trey Willis, but I'm gonna tell you why neither one of them are on my list because I feel like their coaches are collecting talent and they're not gonna get an opportunity to shine in the way they would. So I don't think there'll be enough focus on them. So I land
Okay.
on John Hudgens, Sean Hyman, Gabe Pope, Kasim Porter Jr., Jermaine Owens, and Zagor.
All right. I like that. I like that team, man. And our producer's not liking this though. We gotta go.
Whatever,
We gotta get
man.
out of
Get out
here.
our ear. Get out our ear.
Hey, man. Look, it's a pleasure as always being here with you guys, starting our day on SimWorld today. We'll see you all tomorrow for the final episode of the week. And till then, you guys, you know how it is. You know what to do around here. You know what this means. Just because it's the off season does not mean that you cannot here in SimWorld Prep. See the game, be the game. We'll see you guys tomorrow. Have a good one, folks.
Peace.